Ah, the holidays. A time best spent with family and friends, and also a time where you don't have to think about how much of an atrocity the world we live in is. Um, hey everybody, it's Marvel D's fan here, uh, celebrating Christmas with two special videos I have for you today. This will be coming out first, and then in a few hours or so, the podcast will be out. So it's a nice surprise. And also, I hope you liked the other surprise I had for Christmas Eve. So be sure to check that video out. And I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, I'm here with Melodite, aka Ashton. He's back. Um, and
Hola.
today we're going to be talking about our favorite Christmas movies. Um, Next year we'll do Hanukkah related movies, whatever ones there are. But since we both celebrate Christmas, I figured, that's probably the best way to go for this year. But just like before, he's going to be giving his list, then I'm going to give you my list, and we have 3 movies picked out for each of us. So, how about you start us off with your third on your list, or just one of them on your list?
Sure, yeah. So my third on my list is Fred Claus. So it's a comedy movie that was made in 2007. The main character was played by Vince Vaughn. His name is Fred Claus. So the story kind of goes: Fred, Santa Claus's older brother, has landed in jail for stealing, and so, however, though, like Santa agrees to bail him out of jail on the condition that Fred comes to the North Pole and makes toys for Christmas. Um, so the reason why I kind of chose this movie was because I actually saw it at this old theater on the east side of my city, Movies 12, if you know where that is, Marvel DC. It's like really cheap tickets, but like the normal prices you would pay for your concession stuff. So it's it's better off you just like you take things into you sneak things into the theater. So I'm looking at like the ratings right now. It only has 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, but not whatever. But I do remember seeing the movie in theaters, and it was around the same time they did like when like they were trying to revamp the Alien versus Predator movies, or that's when they were doing them. I think I
Yeah,
remember
they
that.
did. Yeah, I remember. I think they had Alien vs Predator come out like 2004 or something like around there, and then I had a sequel like 3 years later. So I think that's what you might be referring to as the sequel they did. Which, I mean, for my money, it's better than the first Alien vs Predator, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's not really a great movie by itself. So um,
Yeah. But uh, right, we almost got off that. We almost got off. But no, yeah, it's honestly it's not the greatest movie in the world, Fred Claus. It's I mean there's better ones out there. I mean better Christmas movies out there. But I mean I do like Vince Vaughn. He did a couple of really good comedy movies in the early 2000s. Also, one of my more favorite roles he did was he played Nick in Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World.
oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Vince Vaughn, so that's why I chose this movie. And it's also probably a movie that I probably watch maybe once a year, and it's usually around this time of the year. So
Mhm.
you go ahead now, my friend.
Um. Yeah. Just to briefly talk about uh uh your third.
Oh
I just wanted to say that I haven't seen the movie. I remember seeing a trailer like years ago,
yeah,
but it never. But nobody like nobody ever said like, "Hey, let's watch Fred Claus," or you sit down and watch this. But I do remember that trailer and just like it's not bad. It's like whatever. So, um, but anyway, your next movie. We'll just go your list first, and
oh okay. So my next movie is from 1970. Oh God, 1972, I think.
Okay.
The Godfather. So you're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell? This is not a Christmas movie. No, it is not. But spoiler alert, one of the biggest scenes in the movie where the Tattaglia family tries to assassinate Vito Corleone takes place during Christmas. So
That counts.
in my book, but it's also a movie I just really like watching around Christmas time. I don't know why. There's just kind of that traditional feeling behind it. It's weird, I know. But for those of you that don't know, The Godfather. So it was released in 1972, and it has 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
so
it's literally one of the greatest movies ever made. Like, it's
one of the greatest crime movies. Yeah, I know for sure. I agree. So basically, the movie's about the Corleone family. It's a mafia family set in like the early 1930s in New York. Basically, so the Don, Vito Corleone, decides to hand over his empire to his youngest son, Michael, because, spoiler alert, in the movie, his brother, Sonny, gets assassinated by the Tattaglia family in another very famous scene. However, basically, like his decision to basically put his son as the new Godfather or the Don, basically kind of sees Michael. You watch Michael as he turns into basically this businessman of sorts, but like a cold-hearted one. Comes from a you know he just got out of the Marines from World War II, and in the beginning of the movie, he seems like a nice guy, and as the movie progresses, you see lots of very big and character changes and very big, just lots of character development. And it's a 3.5 hour movie, but it's a really good movie. So. And I should also say it was originally a book written by a guy by the name of Mario Puzo. And very many famous people were in this movie, actually. Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, Robert Duvall, James Caan, Richard Castellano, and Diane Keaton. Marlon Brando was probably the biggest name in the movie at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also like when Al Pacino was starting to make a big push in his acting career as well. So,
which would all eventually lead to the Dunkachino. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Godfather is a great movie. I would say it's pretty much a must-watch for any movie lovers out there. If you have not seen it, be sure to see it. And if you want to make an interesting Christmas tradition, you could start watching Godfather. I've seen weirder, and you've told me weirder before we started. So
yeah, that's true. I was telling I was telling Marvel here that I dated a girl at one point that watched Halloween as a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, it's definitely not right. In my books, but hey, if you want to watch Halloween on Christmas or any other holiday, whatever, you can do that.
Yeah, do whatever your heart desires.
So yeah, watch Halloween on St. Patrick's. Okay, so for your number one, what do you got for me?
The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Yes.
So a lot of people will probably definitely kind of groan as I say this. But it has 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was made in 1994, released in 1994, I should say. Basically, the movie's about Tim Allen's character So basically, by helping Santa Claus with a Christmas crisis, Scott, Tim Allen's character, unknowingly agrees to become the next Santa Claus. Now he has to deal with his suspicious former wife while trying to keep his secret safe. Because like throughout the movie, he's basically like turning into Santa Claus, I believe. Like he starts like growing hair and stuff like that. It becomes really funny actually, and it was actually released on Remembrance Day of '94, so that's kind of funny. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's a big deal for the movie. Is a big deal to me because I remember watching it as a kid. It's just one of those movies that like is only a few years older than me, but it's probably one of my most favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For
but
me, it's one of those movies where like, because me, I'm more familiar with the second movie.
yeah,
It's I have a more personal connection with that one, and remembering the first movie as a kid, I remember it was just like, I don't really like the first movie. It's like move on to the second one. But I watched it a few years ago, and I mean, it really, my opinion changed. Is like it is a good Christmas movie. Like it's still very enjoyable. So um
mhm. Well, and I actually had a few family members who were extras in Santa Claus 2 because it was actually filmed in BC.
ah
Yeah, so
interesting.
they it's like at the end of the movie where like, or it's like either at the beginning or the ending of the movie, and it has to do with like all like the little skaters that are like on the little ice rink in the North Pole.
Oh, okay.
Um, both of my cousins are in that scene.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Very, very, very neat. Very interesting.
yes sir.
Um, yeah. Anyway, Santa Claus, good movie. You watch it. You know, if there's anybody that's pretty much synonymous with Christmas, it's Tim Allen. So,
Oh yeah. Well, at this time too, he did like things like Toy Story and stuff like that as well, right?
Home Improvement, yeah.
Yeah, he had a pretty big boom in Hollywood at the time.
And then and then look where that's got him now. Like, I mean, yeah, he
Yeah,
does. He does like, um, God, I'm forgetting the name of the show he's doing now, but like, I mean, it's not a bad show, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. So,
see, I had no idea he still did things actually.
well, I can assure you, he's still acting and he's still making money. He's not broke, but um. Anyway, I guess we should just move on to my list. So, um, so for my third movie, um, which I would say not only is a favorite of mine, but also a Christmas classic, Home Alone.
Ah, yes.
Um, so the movie, if you don't know, stars Macaulay Culkin. Um, he has this family, which he's kind of the runt of. They're about to leave for vacation, but he gets left behind. so the majority of the movie is just him, doing, you know, things a kid could want to do while their parents and everybody is away. But then also some burglars get involved because I guess they want to break into the house. Um, and Kevin's got to fend them off, and it's one of those movies where I watched it right around the time like of middle school, like junior high, and it's still like etched into my brain, and it's still enjoyable. It's still really fun. Um, Also, I want to say that I've watched the other Home Alone movies, and I don't like them at all. Like, I mean, second one's not too bad, but then 3 and 4 are just absolute travesties. So if you're gonna watch any Home Alone movie, it's gonna be with the first one. That's still the strongest one. And I mean,
Um, yeah, no, I mean you're right. The third or however many more they made after the second one are just terrible. One of my personal favorites. I do agree. You know, Home Alone's an amazing movie. It's probably one of the best. Um, however, I think Home Alone 2 is one of my top favorites. I don't know why. I think it's because maybe that like Tim Curry and Rob Schneider in there is why it's one of my favorites.
oh yeah,
um, but Joe Pesci was in both of those movies, and Joe Pesci is probably one of my more favorite mob actors, I guess, because he grew up around mobsters in New York. So,
yeah,
but no, Home Alone is, I think, holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, despite what happened to Macaulay Culkin afterwards, the sort of downfall, I mean, you could still watch it and appreciate it for what it is. And yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
all to say about it. So, next on my list here, just get my list up again. Elf with Will
Oh,
Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Yeah.
So I watched this movie basically my entire life. It is a tradition with my dad because he's also a big fan of this movie, so we make sure to watch it every year. I mean, to the disdain of my mom, who who couldn't give less of a shit anymore. But basically, if you don't know the movie, uh, Will Ferrell plays Buddy the elf, who was a baby that's from an orphanage who wound up in Santa's bag. He gets to the North Pole and he's raised by elves. He thinks he's an elf, but then they tell him about his real father in New York City, and he makes it his goal to travel there and meet him and spend time with him. And the whole movie is basically just hijinks of a not elf thinking he's an elf in New York, which is like the craziest city. So, um, I mean, there's a lot of funny. I think one of my favorite moments is, um, he has the fight with the fake Santa in the mall, and
Oh, God, you're not the real Santa.
yeah, you sit on a throne of lies. um, when he makes that like the the spaghetti with like all the chocolate and candy in it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Jesus.
When he's at the company, when he's working at the company, and the Peter Dinklage shows up, and he thinks he's an elf, and he just gets his ass handed to him by the little person. Yeah, there's so many like ridiculous moments like that, which, I mean, yeah, granted, it is dumb, but it's still extremely funny. And
You're an angry elf.
yeah, he's an angry elf.
Oh, that's like one of the best scenes out of the entire movie is when
Yeah.
he is in the fight with that little midget at his dad's company. Oh my
Yeah.
God. His dad also, I believe, played Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, actually. Or I can't remember the actor's name.
I can't remember either.
Shoot. It's Duvall or Khan, James Khan. I'm relatively convinced it's James Khan.
Mhm.
But it's a great movie. Really, it is. So and yeah, James Caan. James Caan, he played. I'm just trying to have a look and trying to keep the conversation going. So, yeah, I mean, Elf. Man, if there's movies in my household that we watch every year, because it's like for you watch Elf. For us in our household, it's usually we don't really have one, but there
Yeah.
are a few we watch.
Mm.
It's Scrooged with Bill Murray. It's probably a good one.
Yes.
Um, we just watched The Grinch with Jim Curry the other day, and yes, James Caan, he played Sonny Corleone. But no, yeah. And then like, what else do we usually watch? We usually watch like a bunch of stuff. It's never really one movie.
Yeah, and I think for me it's the same kind of thing. I mean, Elf is just a tradition with me and my dad, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I watch
yeah.
I watch a lot of Christmas movies throughout the month, and um, I mean, whether for good or bad, like it's like,
Yeah, well,
uh,
yeah.
but but yeah, I'd still say that Elf holds a very special place in my heart, and it still will, for many Christmases to come. But getting into the last movie on my list, Jim Carrey's Grinch just is just basically a nostalgia trip for me. It's another one of those movies that I've seen my entire life, and I can never get sick of watching it. I mean, it's a weird movie, and I know it's not great by any means, but I mean, it's still really fun and entertaining. And the main thing that keeps it going is Jim Carrey, because this
Oh
is
yeah.
literally, I mean, during the height of his career with, Dumb and Dumber,
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, like, this is him in his prime, and it really shows with, how funny he can be, and also the level of dedication, because he's wearing like that suit, which um which is absolute torture, and those are his words specifically. Yeah, I
I
watched
love.
I watched an interview he did with Graham Norton, and he's basically talking about how like he had someone come in from like the CIA to teach him how to endure torture just to be in that suit. But anyway, what were you about to say, since I just cut you off?
I think the same person that you got from the CIA also taught him about like serial killers and stuff like that, because
Mm-hmm.
he actually worked with profilers, and he was like, yeah, no, I want to know like where I need to put my headspace into, right? And when I watched the movie, I'm like, I can see where he gets it, but like he also has his own spin on it, which makes it entertaining, right? And at the same time, though, like I remember a lot of my friends when I was younger being afraid of the movie. So I guess it makes sense, right? Because like Jim Carrey, I think he wanted to scare kids, but at the same time, make it laughable for everybody, I guess. But I do remember um, most of my friends being afraid of the movie growing up.
Yeah.
However,
um
like me and you grew up watching horror movies, so we were pretty jaded to that stuff.
yeah, there, I remember. Yeah, because I was never really scared of Jim Carrey's Grinch. There was
Yeah.
one part that freaked me out because I was like 2 years old at the time, and it's when the kids are climbing the mountain to go to the cave, and then all of a sudden this giant head comes out of the fucking mountain. Like, that was the only part of the movie that legitimately scared me as a child, but never Jim Carrey in costume.
Yeah, no, never. And for me, the scene that kind of scared me was when he was attacking Cindy Lou Who in the postal place.
Yes.
That was another one of them. I
Yeah.
think it was because of the costume he was wearing on top of the costume. Like when he was trying to be incognito.
Oh yeah.
I think it was that costume that scared me because the mask.
Yeah, there's this rubber mask. Speaking of costumes, though, like all the people in Whoville, like they're more terrifying than Jim Carrey's costume.
I know.
And it's just the face, because they have that weird nose there, and it just looks really off-putting. But
Yeah. Well, what's it like? The more older I get, the more I relate to the Grinch, to be honest.
Basically.
Like, one of my most favorite scenes out of that whole movie is when he's standing on the mountain cliff with the yearbook and he goes, Marvin who? I hate you. Hate, 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 double hate, loathe entirely. You know, like,
one of my favorite parts is when he's preparing to take all the kids' toys, like he's stealing Christmas, and he's with Max the dog. Max is wearing the red nose, and the Grinch is like, "Give me like your hatred," and Max just like plops the nose off him, and he's like, "Brilliant." But yeah, I mean, that movie, despite being really entertaining, mostly due to Jim Carrey. I mean, it's a very off-putting movie because of all the Who's and Whoville, and I mean, one of them, Cindy Lou, is the only one who has an actual nose. But it's still entertaining. It mostly because it is Jim Carrey that carries the entire movie. So
yeah, his shoulders must have really hurt after that movie from
yeah,
carrying it for so much.
and but but for me, I'd still say like it's a modern, like a modern classic, modern Christmas classic. So um if you have not seen it, watch it over the new Grinch movie, because I don't care.
Yeah. Sorry, just another honorable mention out of that movie is when he's laying in bed and he's going over his day planner and he goes, dinner to myself, I cannot miss that. Wall on shelf petty. Oh, we definitely can't miss that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was, since we're mentioning other parts, the scene where he's getting ready to go down to like the Whoville party,
Yeah.
and he's going through outfits.
Sicko.
And then the greatest moment in the whole movie is during, you know, his destruction of Whoville, like right before, like they invite him down, and like they basically tease him and everything, how they did as a kid. He's riding, like he's destroying everything. He's riding through Whoville on a like tiny car. He crashes the car, and then the car explodes. Like so, so yeah, definitely an interesting movie.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I think that's it for the video. We got through our lists. We said what we need to say, and yeah. So I want to thank Melodite Ashton for joining me yet again on these videos. These are always fun to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please go subscribe to his channel, check out his content, because it is really good. If you're a fan of really creepy stories and, you know, true facts and all that sort of stuff, check him out, and hit subscribe and watch his stuff. But,
please.
Yeah,
I'm on 1,700 views on one of my videos, so and it keeps on it keeps on climbing.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like that's more views than this whole channel combined. But,
I think I just got lucky.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good luck, you know, getting a video to 17,000 in a short amount of time.
Well,
Um,
for sure, and I have like 40 likes on the video as well, and no
yeah,
dislikes yet. Yet,
yet.
I don't know. I don't really think it's that good of a video, if I'm being honest. But yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, shower him with views, and be
yes,
sure to watch his content. And
shower me.
also, be sure to stay tuned for the Christmas podcast I have planned for you today. But but anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Be sure to follow me on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Join the server. I'd really like to have you there. Um, I hope you guys have a happy holidays. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.